Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really fascinating document today. It's a diary update from August 2026, written by a man named Phil. And what we're going to do is look at this diary not just as a recount of everyday events, but as a literal masterclass in redefining what daily independence actually looks like. We're going to follow Phil's journey toward daily independence and use his vibrant, highly organized life to see exactly how a person can strategically balance work, community, and support systems to just live their absolute best life. To really ground this explainer and get a feel for who we're talking about, listen to this opening detail. Phil writes, Chris, I call him Captain Smiley, and I went to Comic-Con in Real, and I've been taking Haley my cat out for walks in a pram. I mean, what a fantastic hook, right? Right away, you get a real sense of Phil's incredibly warm personality, his sense of humor, and just his joyful approach to life. Haley the cat is very old now, so she gets pushed in a pram. It's these specific, deeply human details that make this diary so captivating. He's not just passing time, he's out there actively curating joy. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, Mastering Daily Autonomy, Balancing Work, Chores, and Support. What's really interesting about Phil's schedule is how incredibly strategic he is with his time. There's this super clear contrast between his solo days and his support days. So on his solo days, he's busy working a shift at the local co-op, and when he gets home, he immediately tackles his housework. Now you might be wondering, why does he do this? Well, he does it so that when his support staff arrive the very next day, they don't have to waste any time doing household chores. Instead, they can focus entirely on doing fun things together, like, going to Comic-Con. It's a brilliant example of forward thinking. He manages the hard stuff on his own so he can totally maximize his leisure and social time later. Now, of course, being solo isn't always easy, and Phil openly acknowledges that it's difficult on days without support. But what really stands out here is how he actively manages his mindset. He stops himself from overthinking so he can keep his anxiety in check. He recognizes that navigating life without immediate help requires a conscious, active effort to keep your mindset balanced. So that brings us to Section 2, Physical and Mental Well-Being, Sustaining Independence Through Self-Care. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how he does it. When he feels down, Phil doesn't just rely on one single thing. He has this incredible, layered toolkit. First, he uses Shout, which is a text message service that connects him to a real person he can share his problems with. Second, he fully embraces technology by using Dola, an AI service, which just shows awesome adaptability. And third, he has human safety nets built right in. One of his support staff is actively receiving training specifically to recognize when Phil is feeling low. So he's beautifully combining cutting-edge AI, accessible digital human support, and trained in-person staff to literally cover all his mental health bases. Moving from mental over to physical health, Phil recently went in for his annual health check at the GP surgery. For those who might need a quick refresher, this is a proactive medical review. They check things like blood pressure, ears, and tummy. And crucially, it's something everyone with a learning disability is legally entitled to receive. Phil is very aware of his rights here. In fact, he used to be a health check champion with an organization called Conway Connect. He doesn't just attend these checks, you guys, he actively advocates for them. And I absolutely love this next detail. During his recent checkup, Phil confidently asked the GP if they could take a picture together, and the doctor agreed. It's such a wonderful, charming anecdote, but honestly, it demonstrates something a lot deeper. It shows Phil's strong self-advocacy. He feels pride and ownership over his medical appointments. He's not just a passive patient sitting on the exam table. He is an active, enthusiastic participant in his own healthcare. And that proactive health management continues right on into his kitchen. Phil regularly attends Slimming World, which he notes is a highly sociable, just great group of people. And he's actually putting what he learns into practice. The other day, he independently cooked a healthy meal. Veggie sausages, broccoli, and Slimming World chips, all done in the air fryer, of course. It's a fantastic daily victory. It really highlights how community support, like what he gets at his Slimming World group, translates into healthy, independent actions at home. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 3, Community and Future Planning. Building a village to combat isolation. Just look at this vibrant social schedule. Phil is running his very own personal YouTube channel to keep busy. He is a peer-led mentor for an organization called Insight. He spends his evenings at Duran's nightclub on Zoom, and he sings karaoke with his support worker, Chris, though Phil playfully admits he probably enjoys the karaoke a lot more than Chris does. The crucial point here is that Phil's independence is deeply, deeply intertwined with his active community engagement. He is constantly connecting, mentoring, and creating. It takes a village, right? Now, right in the midst of all this joyful activity, Phil's diary takes a surprising, but honestly very pragmatic turn. He mentions that he's been planning his funeral, and he's got some highly specific requests, too. He wants a horse-drawn carriage, and, brilliantly, he'd like a statue of himself placed in Queen's Gardens in Colwyn Bay. Now, actually, before anyone panics, Phil explicitly clarifies in his diary he is not dying. So, why the funeral planning? Well, it's actually an incredibly empowering community exercise. Phil joined a chat group on All for Inclusion, which is a network that runs groups for people with disabilities to stop them from feeling isolated. He's also part of their writers group. And in this chat group, they have actively been talking about death. By tackling these difficult, often super taboo topics together in a safe, communal space, they strip away the fear and the isolation that usually surrounds them. It's just a remarkable way to take control of the future. And that sense of connection is really what gets him through the harder times. Phil admits he is dreading the cold, wet winter days approaching, noting he'll really need to push himself to go outdoors. But as he writes, "My support staff are so good, and I know I mustn't call them friends, but they do feel like friends sometimes. It's incredibly moving. It shows that while there are professional boundaries, the deep, empathetic bonds he shares with people like Chris, Captain Smiley, are absolutely fundamental to his emotional survival and his daily independence." Phil's diary is a massive testament to the fact that nobody is an island. True supported independence is actually about knowing when to work solo, when to ask for help, and how to build a layered network of care. Phil relies on Captain Smiley, he relies on artificial intelligence like Dala, and he relies on vibrant community groups like All for Inclusion and Slimming World to maintain his incredible autonomy. It leaves us with a really provocative thought, which brings us to the end of our explainer today. Looking at Phil's incredibly well-rounded life, what does your support network look like? Are you utilizing your village as effectively as Phil? Thank you so much for following along with this explainer, and I'll leave you to reflect on that final question.